Hey everyone, this is Max, and today we're going to be talking about the Yeti 1400 Lithium versus the 1500X. The 1500X came out recently, and depending on when you saw this video. And I'll just go over the overview real quick of these two systems before we go in depth. So this is the Yeti 1400 Lithium, as you can see pictured here, and some just a couple brief points on the system. This is the previous generation model to the 1500X, and this was one of the first models to have the Yeti application, which is a Goal Zero. Goal Zero sort of came out with an app for their system, and some other companies have recently come out with it, with an app for their own solar generators, but Goal Zero was one of the first, or the first, to come out with an application, and the 1400 Lithium was one of the first recipients of that. So the 1500X is pictured here on the right, and it has all ports regulated. The X series is apparently the X in the 1500X means that the ports are all regulated. Now the 1400 Lithium, I'm not sure which ones are not, but some of them may not be. I have not looked into that, so doing a little research will help you figure out which ones are regulated or not, in case you're wondering. And the 1500X, as you'll see throughout the video, has higher numbers in terms of power and several other applications as well, and I'll go over all of those too. So first we'll start with ports. All right, so we'll start here, and this is just a screenshot from Goal Zero's website of this particular generator, but I'll go over a few things here. So located in the middle underneath the display are the USB ports. It has a two USB-A ports, a USB-C, and a PD port. And the 1400 also has 12-volt ports here. You can see that there are 4 different ones here. The 2 that are very similar right there are the 6mm ports. Those are specifically for Goal Zero accessories, more particularly lights. And then there's a carport high power port, which is also known as an Anderson power pole port. And then that is it there. Next, we have the AC ports, obviously, but the more important part of that is the 1500 watts continuous and 3000 watts surge power coming from that AC port. That's really powerful. And then on the all the way left are the charging ports. One of them is an 8mm port, and then the other is a high power or Anderson power pole charging port up to 360 watts. You want to keep that 360 watts in mind as we go into the next stats for the other generator. And then on top we have the covered port. It says expansion module port, and that's underneath the lid to expand your battery. You can also put a MPPT charge controller on top to enhance and give you more efficient solar charging as well as AC charging. So next we'll go into the Yeti 1500X, and I'll show you which portions of, or which ports have more power. They'll be circled here. So the first circle has to do with the USB-C port. Now the 1400 Lithium had a 15 watt max. This one is 18, so a small increase there. Underneath there is the 12-volt car port, which has an output of 160 watts max. The previous model that I just went over has 120 watts maximum, so a nice increase there. Underneath there, we have the 12-volt high power or Anderson power pole output. This one is capable of up to 360 watts maximum. The previous model was capable of 240 watts max. Beneath there is the inverter. So these are the AC ports. They increased 500 watts for both continuous and surge, bringing it up to 2,000 watts continuous and 3,500 watts surge. So you may be able to run more of an array of appliances or certain power tools or high demand power devices with the AC ports. And then lastly, we have the high power or Anderson charging port. This one is capable of 600 watts maximum, whereas the previous model was only capable of 360 watts. So that is one of the larger, or if not the largest increase in power input power is the last circle right there with the solar input, or AC input, as you'll see later on. So the battery, one of the most important parts of the solar generator is obviously the battery. On the left there, you see the 1500X, and then the 1400 lithium. The cell chemistry is lithium ion at NMC, and then 500 cycles to 80%. This is consistent with the 1500X, but the things that are different are the capacity as well as the management system. The pack capacity for the 1400 is just over 1400 watt hours at 1425, and then it has a PWM charge controller. As you'll see with the 1500X, it has the same features there, but it has a higher pack capacity, obviously in simultaneous with the name, 1516 watt hours, and it has a MPPT charge controller. This is the ideal one to have, and this is one of the better features of this solar generator. So how long will they last? I'm speaking in terms of life cycles. So they're both rated at 500 life cycles to 80% capacity. So they will last a decent amount of time, but not very long for frequent, heavy use. So if you're running some pretty large devices or appliances, or you're using it quite a bit every day, running the battery down and recharging it a lot, it's not recommended. I have a picture of someone doing construction here, but you could basically picture what I mean here. If you're using this a lot, it's not ideal, because there are several other solar generators out there that have higher battery life cycles. And life cycles are crucial to the longevity of your solar generator. And it's important because a lot of these lithium ion solar generators, they don't have replaceable batteries. So you'll need to make sure if you can find some that do have replaceable batteries. I talk about the Energy Flex a decent amount, as well as the 0.0 Energy Titan. They have, replaceable batteries, and both of them are rated for up to 2,000 life cycles. I have more videos on that if you want to get in depth about that. But I say here to aim for 1,000 plus life cycles if you're really trying to use this solar generator to its full use. However, I say these generators are great for emergencies because you're not using them as often, as well as outdoor events. As long as you're not using them all the way down and you're not really stressing the battery a lot, then this would be a good system. But I mean, it would be especially great for, say, outdoor events if you're tailgating every so often, but especially for emergency backup at the home, this would last for potentially years. And it's just reliable power. And here I say the inverter can handle high power requirements. So you could use what the inverter is rated for these systems. You can use them to their limits, as long as you don't use them consistently, utilizing them to their limits. Then you could really extend the life of that battery. So we'll get into charging here. And specifically, I don't go into car port charging here, but if you're looking to charge this via car, I would recommend researching it a little more in depth. But I do talk about solar and AC charging. So the Yeti 1400 is capable of 360 watts of maximum solar power. You can attach the MPPT module, which is a separate unit. I believe it's $100 on Goal Zero's website, and that will enhance the life of, enhance the solar input of both of these systems. But I don't talk about that in there. You could obviously do research on that. That is a really quality component to have if you're getting one of these systems. But the Yeti 1500X is capable of 600 watts maximum solar. Now, I did check, and this was on my previous video, I checked on Goal Zero's website in the Q&A section for the 1500X, and I found out that there was one person who did have a complaint. I believe two people had questions about these max solar input. One person was having some trouble because they could only get up to, I believe, 405 watts of solar input. He got a replacement, and it still was not capable of getting the 600 watts max of solar. Now that's one account, so I can't really make a full assessment on that, but it is rated for 600 watts maximum solar. So with that being said, on the left, with 400 watts of solar, you can get 5 to 10 hours of recharge. So you can charge it from nothing to full in 5 to 10 hours in ideal sunlight, obviously. And then on the right, it takes 4 to 8 hours with 400 watts. That's because of the MPPT charge controller that allows for a more efficient charge, giving you more power for the same amount of solar. Also, since you can get up to 600 watts maximum solar, you can even enhance that further to 3 to 6 hours in ideal sunlight with that amount of solar input, which is a very nice recharge time. So for AC charging, there's a 120 watt maximum 8mm port. However, there's two caveats. On the left, there's a Yeti Fast Charge 25 amp power supply, which allows you to reduce the charge time and enhance the watts coming into your system to recharge it from the wall in 4.5 hours, which is excellent. And on the right, which is even better, since it's a newer model, you can get up to a 600 watt optional power supply. Both of these, the fast charge and the 600 watt power supply, are optional with this unit. With both these units, 3 hours of recharge time, which is very impressive, and you won't be waiting forever to have that recharge, as opposed to a lot of previous and older solar generators. All right, and then right here we'll get into some key features. We have the Yeti application. So it's an excellent way to use your system with Wi-Fi. So if you have it as a home backup system, it may not be ideal when the power goes out because you can't connect over Wi-Fi, obviously. But if you're looking to use this to power certain devices or maybe your refrigerator or something like that, you can use the application to not only turn on and off ports, but you can also check the history of your solar generator, how you use it, and there's different modes as well. The optional MPPT module, as I discussed a little bit previously, it is a $99 option, but it allows you to get more solar to recharge your systems faster. This works both for the 1400 and 1500X. And that's it right there. It goes into the lid and right underneath the lid of that system. And then we have Yeti tank batteries, which are optional. Now, these are not available yet. This is the beginning of December in 2020, so they're not available yet for the Yeti X models, but the Yeti tank batteries work with the Lithium series solar generators. I believe it's the 1000 Lithium and up. So we have yet to hear from Goal Zero about an updated version of the tank batteries for the X series. So who do I pick as my winner? You probably already know it's the 1500X. And the reason why is because there's a better charge controller, MPPT. It's not much more expensive than the 1400. Last time I checked, it is only $100 more than the 1400 Lithium. So that may change after or as you see this video, but it's still around the same price as the 1400. The difference in solar intake, this one could take up to 600 watts of solar, and with the MPPT module, even more than that. It has a larger inverter, so 500 watts, both continuous and surge power, a 500 watt increase, which is really nice. And then it has a larger battery, not a lot larger, but it's just a little under 100 watt hours larger. And yet it is still similar in weight. The 1500X only weighs about, I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe it's only like a pound or two heavier than the 1400. So that is really an excellent system to have. And I recommend the 1500X over the 1400 Lithium any day of the week. So I have individual videos on these two, and you'll probably see them pretty soon popping up here. So check them out if you want to hear more information and understand the systems more. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to see more videos, and comment if you have anything to say about these generators, or if you have any questions. I check my feed a lot, so you'll be hearing from me. And thank you, as always, for watching this video. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.